Have you ever wondered how the rise of cities transformed the world we live in today? The Industrial Revolution reshaped everything. People flocked to urban centers, and suddenly, overcrowding, disease, and harsh conditions were a daily struggle. But it didn't end there. These challenges sparked massive change, driving innovations in public health, housing, and city planning. Stick around as we dive into the shocking transformation of urban life during one of history's most pivotal moments. Industrial beginnings. The Industrial Revolution began in the late 18th century and continued into the 19th century, transforming society. Before this era, most people lived in small rural communities, working on farms or in simple workshops. However, the rapid advancements in technology during the revolution began to change everything. Machines replaced manual labor, and industries like textiles, coal, and steel began to dominate. This revolution started in Great Britain, driven by new inventions such as the steam engine created by James Watt. These inventions allowed factories to produce goods more efficiently and on a larger scale. As a result, towns and cities began to grow rapidly. People from the countryside moved to cities in search of jobs, creating an urban boom. The shift from farming to factory work had profound effects on both the economy and society. As cities expanded, they became centers of innovation, but also faced major challenges such as overcrowding and poor living conditions. The story of urbanization during the Industrial Revolution marks a pivotal moment in history, where industrial progress and human struggle went hand in hand. Tech advancements. The Industrial Revolution was powered by incredible technological advancements that reshaped how goods were produced. In the late 1700s, the invention of the steam engine by James Watt revolutionized manufacturing. It allowed factories to be built anywhere, not just near rivers, as previous water-powered machines required. One of the most significant inventions was the spinning jenny, invented by James Hargreaves in 1764, which revolutionized textile production. This machine could spin multiple threads at once, increasing efficiency and reducing the need for manual labor. Alongside it, Richard Arkwright's water frame, invented in 1769, improved thread spinning, making it more durable and useful for large-scale production. The demand for raw materials like coal and iron grew rapidly as more machines were built. This created a booming industry around mining and metallurgy. Abram Darby's method of smelting iron with coke instead of charcoal in 1709 paved the way for stronger, cheaper iron production, fueling the construction of railroads, ships, and buildings. These technological innovations made factories more productive, enabling cities to expand and industrialize quickly. People flocked to urban centers to work in these growing industries, marking the beginning of a major economic transformation. Rural to urban. As the Industrial Revolution progressed, many people began leaving rural areas to seek jobs in the rapidly growing cities. This mass migration, which began in the late 18th century, changed the landscape of society. Farmers, once accustomed to growing their own food, found it harder to make a living due to the shift towards mechanized agriculture. The introduction of machines like the mechanical reaper in 1831, which allowed farms to harvest more efficiently, led to fewer jobs in rural areas. In search of work, people moved to urban centers where factories were springing up. Cities like Manchester and Liverpool in Great Britain became hubs of industrial activity, offering jobs in textile mills, coal mines, and ironworks. By the 1830s, Manchester had grown from a small market town to a bustling industrial city, with a population that exploded from 30,000 to over 300,000 in just a few decades. The promise of steady work in factories attracted workers, but life in the cities wasn't easy. Overcrowding, poor sanitation, and harsh working conditions were common. Despite the challenges, urbanization continued to increase as more people sought the economic opportunities that cities provided. This rural to urban migration marked a key moment in history, shaping the growth of modern cities and economies. City growth. As the Industrial Revolution brought more people into urban areas, cities grew rapidly, and overcrowding became a serious issue. The migration from rural areas to cities, which began in the late 1700s, led to massive population booms in industrial hubs. Cities like Manchester and London saw their populations skyrocket, with Manchester's numbers increasing from 30,000 in 1750 to over 300,000 by 1850. With the sudden influx of people, housing was in short supply. Many working-class families were forced to live in cramped, poorly built buildings. These areas, often located near factories, became known as slums. The living conditions were harsh, with overcrowded homes, inadequate ventilation, and little access to clean water or sanitation. Diseases like cholera and typhoid spread quickly in these unsanitary environments, leading to high death rates. The rapid growth of cities also meant that infrastructure could not keep up. Roads, sewers, and public services were overwhelmed by the expanding population. In places like London, congestion became a common problem, with traffic jams and limited public transport options. These early challenges of urbanization highlighted the need for better urban planning and social reforms, which would slowly come in the following decades. Despite these issues, the growth of cities during the Industrial Revolution laid the foundation for modern urban centers, where millions of people still live and work today. Health crisis. As cities expanded during the Industrial Revolution, public health became a major concern. The rapid migration of people from rural areas to urban centers created overcrowded conditions, which contributed to the spread of diseases. By the early 19th century, cities like London and Manchester had seen their populations grow at an astonishing rate, leading to unsanitary living environments. The lack of proper sanitation, clean water, and waste disposal systems made the situation worse. In areas with high population density, disease spread quickly. Cholera outbreaks in the 1830s and 1840s were particularly deadly. In London, the cholera epidemic of 1849 claimed over 14,000 lives. The city's poor drainage systems and contaminated water sources made it difficult to prevent the spread of the disease. In addition to cholera, other illnesses like typhoid and smallpox were common in these urban slums. Factory workers, who often lived in the poorest conditions, faced long working hours, poor nutrition, and exposure to dangerous working environments. Many factories lacked proper ventilation, and workers were at risk of diseases caused by dust, fumes, and chemicals. The health crisis in industrial cities prompted the need for public health reforms. In 1848, the Public Health Act was passed in Britain, laying the foundation for modern sanitation and urban planning. Urban impact. The Industrial Revolution left a lasting mark on modern urban development. As cities grew rapidly in the 19th century, the changes shaped how we build and live today. The explosion of urbanization in places like Manchester and London required new infrastructure, including roads, railways, and housing. This growth forced cities to adapt and plan for future expansion. In the 1800s, the rise of factories created a demand for workers, leading to the construction of mass housing. The overcrowded conditions of these early industrial cities eventually sparked the need for public health reforms and better city planning. London introduced the first modern sewage system in the 1850s, improving sanitation and reducing disease. How the Black Death reshaped Europe. We'll explore how a deadly plague forever altered Europe's landscape and society. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening stories like this one. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an update and join our community of history enthusiasts.